all new. AM 1150 WTMP.com.
Alrighty, Tampa Bay. It's that time again. Boy, it's one of those weeks, and before anything else happens, before I forget, before I start the show, I gotta say, Happy Founders Day to the Sorors of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So their Founders Day was the 15th, I think. If I got that wrong, somebody will call me up and correct me. But, I'm saying happy Founders Day to the Sorors. Happy birthday to frat brother, Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., which happened. I mean, they got the holiday. I mean, they celebrate the holiday because they get a standard time to do it, kind of like Thanksgiving. It's kind of like that, that thing, that Thursday in November. Well, MLK is that Monday in January. It's like the third Monday in January. So that it's representing his birthday. It's not really the day which he was born, because the day which he was born was the 15th. So so I wanted to make sure I got that out there before senior senility set in, and I forgot it. And
I'm sorry, did you say something?
Somebody called me and correct. If I say something that need to be corrected, I am sure somebody will call and correct it. But I want to get that in now. Someone else told me that there was a couple other fraternities or sororities that had a Founders Day this week. Since I'm not sure of them, I'm not gonna mention them because again, I try to speak stuff that I know, and stuff that I don't know, I don't mess with it a whole lot. Yeah, again, at the end of the day, it's one of those kind of shows. So anyway, might as well get the show started.
Let's go. Live.
Welcome, Porch Talk Radio. This is Eddie Adams Jr., your host, Gabriel Phillips, your co-host.
Live.
And we're doing what we normally do. So I want to make sure that everybody, I got a couple people call me before the show to want to get stuff in. For some reason or other, they said they couldn't listen today. Something was going on or something. And they called to tell me, I can't listen today,
well,
but
that's nice,
but I'm always, I always listen to you.
Loyal listener, we love it.
So that kind of leadership or loyalty you can't buy. I heard the last programmer saying something about they were paying for commercials and compliments and stuff, and I'm saying you can't buy folks who call you and say, I can't listen today because so and so and so. I wouldn't even thought of doing something like that, but they do that.
I wouldn't.
That just go to tell you what kind of listeners we got.
That's good. Good people. We got some good people.
Got some good people out there.
Yeah.
So anyway, and let me make another statement before we get going. Okay. There is not, and let me say this real loud, real clear. There is not a majority Democrats in the Senate. It is 50-50. I know that new math kind of works sometimes, and make people think, different thing. If there's a vote in the Senate and there's a tie in the Senate on that vote, 50-50, then the vice president get the vote to break the tie. But there is no majority Democrats in the Senate. It is 50-50. Okay? Now, I know you guys are good math people out there, and I probably got a whole bunch of people mad at me about telling the truth, but that's the nature of the truth. It's still the truth. So
there's still people out there saying right now that President Trump was impeached by Congress. Well, no.
Well, he's impeached by Congress the same way Bill Clinton was impeached.
No, but it was by the House. not the Senate.
He was impeached by the House.
That's separate. Well, that's all Congress. Well, it's not all of Congress.
It's not Congress. But again, they say what they want. I mean, news commentators on all the national broadcasts were saying, he's impeached, by the... No. Again, he won't... Now, I'm gonna tell you, and I got started. I got started short sometime. But let me tell you guys something. This goes to show several weeks ago, if it's not several months ago, I was telling you guys about how power works. Okay, Trump is going to leave office in several days. Power is not only did we beat you, we're going to, have our knee on your neck for the whole 9 minutes.
I can't breathe.
Not 8 plus 9 minutes. So they don't want to make sure he's dead. They want to make sure he's deader than dead. So we're gonna impeach him.
Again.
We're gonna go through all the time, energy, and effort.
Totally illegal what they did, Eddie.
And let me make this point. They wasn't even supposed to be in session, so they called a special session. This is power. This is how power works. They called a special session.
No witnesses.
To impeach Trump, the House. So
nothing put in as evidence.
At the end of the day, it is what it is. Didn't make him leave no sooner.
No.
He's gonna be gone. But again, part of the whole scenario is we got the power to do this.
Eddie.
Now, at the same time, they're talking about let's get together, let's work together, let's kumbaya, let's do this, let's do that. At the same time, in which their true nature is kind of like the story of the snake crossing the river.
The river.
Any kind of animal, you name the animal, okay, a cat, dog,
a scorpion, and a turtle.
Anything. Cat, dog, saw a snake. Snake want to get to the other side of the river. In the middle of the stream, poisonous snake bit the cat. And the cat said, now we both gonna die. You knew when you picked me up that I was a snake. I'm just telling you. So the nature of a beast is its nature. Don't forget that. Because what they're showing you now is their true nature of what they are, who they are. So basically, I'm not saying it as a Democrat, as a Republican, as a non-5 whatever, and independent. And I'm just telling you, when somebody is leaving, and you literally go out of your way. And a long time you say, well, let's do kumbaya, peace, and work together.
As they put a knife in his back.
And all that kind of good stuff.
Heal with a knife in the back.
As you walk out the door, we're gonna throw as many knives, as many daggers, as many forks, as many hatchers as we can at you. Even though leaving ain't good enough, we got to make sure you're gone. So again, at the end of the day, let me go ahead and get the show started. Once I get the show started, then we can deal with this other stuff that's going on. Anyway, Porch Talk Radio this Saturday afternoon. Welcome. If you want to call in during the show, the call-in number WTMP, the call-in number is 813-251-9867, 813-251-9867. That's call in if you want to be on the show. And I got to say this again. We are not politically correct. If you're looking for the politically correct show, you can call in all day today, except for the hours of 1 to 2. From the hours of 1 to 2, you don't get politically correct. All the rest of the day, you can get politically correct on all the other shows. This is not the show. This show is a little bit different
Eddie.
And that's why you guys are listening.
We're like Facebook, Eddie.
So again, we ain't like Facebook.
Yes, we are. If we don't like what you say, we cut you off.
Well, we ain't like.
That's what Facebook. They censor.
We not like Facebook. Okay, I'm the host of the show, so let me finish this.
All right.
Then you can say your piece. Okay. So when you call in, you know, if you're saying something that's out of square, like some people did last week and the week before last, you know, since this is our platform, not yours, we will exercise our right and exercise our duty to cut you the hell off. Again, so I'm saying that. See, some folks won't say that. I'm telling you up front. This is the deal. So if you call with some of the foolishness, and we got a broad audience, and I'm gonna say this, you know, because it's a certain sector of our audience who have done this. It ain't everybody who call. You know, it ain't all the people who call. It's certain people who call. I appreciate you listening to the show, you know, but this is not, you know, QYK. You know, it ain't one of those country stations. You know, it ain't one of them completely liberal.
Not casting shade on country people.
Liberal stations. You know, again, I'm not casting any doubt. I'm just casting any shade. If the shade fall on you, it's falling on you. Okay, so if you want to call me and talk to me off the air, like some people did today before the show, you know, my cell phone number is 813-12. That's Eddie. And if you want to email me, Eddie@PorchTalkRadio.com. Facebook Live. We're glad you guys are listening. Glad you guys are viewing. You know, glad you guys are there. You know, and if you would like to be able to see this at other times, you know, like it, then you can kind of go to our website or go to Facebook and punch the button and view the shows, you know, the list of shows, and go from there. Okay, Gabriel.
All right, now I'm not as nice as Eddie. I've got a lot of information I put out, just like Eddie does, and we've done some research on it enough to go, well, this is fairly right. If something isn't correct because you have other evidence, please share it. I'm always open. My number, you're welcome to call or text. And again, if it's just baloney you want to put at me, I'll just block you and be done. 727-311. Simple.
Okay, first topic. I know a lot of black folks. We don't mind saying black and white and
brown,
Hispanic and, you know, colored and all that kind of stuff on this show, because the nature of this show is to communicate. So I don't want y'all to be fooled, get some kind of notion. I am talking right now to black folks. All week long, you've been seeing folks at the Capitol building, and you've been commenting, well, if them were black folks, if them were black folks, if them were black folks. Okay, black folks been riding since the 1800s. I'm going to tell you. The nature of the black folks riding ain't because somebody did something in Washington, D.C. Matter of fact, if you go back through all the black rides in history, I don't think one of them is because somebody in Washington, D.C. did something. I'm just saying, the nature of it. So when you compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges, the Watts riot happened because of something happened in Watts. The Harlem riots happened because of something happened in Harlem. You know, and any other riots you want to think about or talk about, you know, it happened because something happened more locally
that's true.
than
You're
something
right.
happening nationally, and the
go.
local people were fed up. Now, you're not going to get the same results. They actually shot and killed a white woman. Again, you know, sorry for for what happened, but that's what happened. You know, them people you saw with the flags around the Capitol. Now, the Capitol building hasn't been overrun by an invading force, you know, since the War of 1812. And then, and I gotta say, these folks did better. They didn't try to burn the Capitol down. They did not try to burn the Capitol down.
No spray painting.
So if black folks keep talking, if them would have been black folks, okay, D.C. got black folks.
Yeah,
them wasn't the black folks that were rioting. Them wasn't the black folks who was trying to take over the Capitol. the folks who tried to take over the Capitol, and them people were mostly from the middle country, the heartlands. They was from the states you fly over to get to Florida, get to California, get to New York or somewhere, to get this, Chicago. Those are the flyover states. Those were the people that say we surround y'all, and they mean y'all.
Y'all.
I'm not just speaking Ebonics, So they're saying we surround y'all. So those are the states that usually get forgotten about during election time, and because of the shenanigans that went on that nobody noticed, and that's been happening to black folks forever. I hate to say it. Y'all keep saying if them was black folks, if them was, my mama used to say, and my grandmama used to say, frogs don't have wings. If they did, they wouldn't keep bumping their butts. And they use more colorful language. But the nature of it is if they had wings, they wouldn't have to keep jumping and bumping their butt every time they landed. So again,
there you go, folks.
all week, the U.S. propaganda machine, and for those who love to hate Trump, he soon will be gone. Now, I don't know if y'all guys noticed, but gas over the last couple of weeks and with everything that's going on, getting ready for our new president, gas is kind of sneaking up.
It's Democrat.
If you remember when the last Democrat left
Same
office,
thing. $4 a gallon.
Gas was extremely high.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's some things, that they were talking about the last time, all the new normals, all the high and extraordinary out of touch.
Here come
stuff,
the taxes and the regulations.
Stuff you're gonna have to get used to. Get used to it because that's what it is. Well, guess what? I'm gonna tell you something. Every now and then, it's something in me that says, I hope they get what the hell they want. Because that's what they want. That's what they want. Evidently, they want it. All that stuff. See, they have short memories. They can rationalize their way into and out of anything. They were so busy hating Trump. They forgot. Matter of fact, I'm gonna just say Trump did absolutely no good for the country whatsoever. America First sucked. Okay, now it's been said. Because everybody else, spend all their time, energy trying to make sure the rest of the world got this and the rest of the world got that.
That's true, Eddie.
And we're gonna send all our forces over to protect everybody else. We're gonna get
and we're gonna pay for it.
Americans, sons and daughters shot and killed, defending other people's lives and other people's country, and and everything's gonna go to China. You might as well forget it. Folks, Walmart is gonna make sure that China got a place in your living room, bedroom, toilet, kitchen, outdoors, on the highway. Walmart can have everything because China produces everything. And what they're going to do, they're going to produce everything. All our economy is going to go to hell in a handbasket.
Eddie, we already know that 80% of what Walmart has, 80% of their suppliers are from China companies. We know 80% of Walmart. So Walmart really has been a big front the whole time for China. So you're right. China's gotten into our homes cheap. And a consumer like me would say, well, nothing wrong paying more, paying a cheap product. But this one's time has kind of bit us back, Eddie. We've got.
It's that time.
It's that time.
Okay, caller.
Finally.
Welcome to Porch Talk Radio on this Saturday morning. Who are you? Where are you calling from? And what say you? Hopefully you got something good to add to the program. If not, we're going to cut you off. So I'm saying that from the very beginning. Hello, who are you? Now, okay, let me because you throw something out there that's more opinion than fact. So you say he is the worst. What makes him prove to me a factual? Okay, well we're gonna go ahead and stop this conversation because you don't want to talk. You just want to, and this is my program. So, okay, next caller. We got another caller? Okay, good. We're going to go ahead and have
Eddie...
At the end of the day, okay, we're not debating it, and again, if you're going to take the platform, and I try to set everybody up, saying how we were going to do this. So if you want to have a conversation and you want to make some statements and stuff, good. But at the end of the day, this is not the show where you call in and we're going to just let you, all day today, he could have called in and everybody would agree with everything he was going to say. Not this show. Sorry. And I said that when we started. So I'm not gonna apologize for doing what we say we're gonna do. So again, moving everything along. Part of what I want to make sure everybody knew that there's gonna be some consequences to what just happened. It's not gonna be all blueberries and strawberries and raspberries and stuff, because there's some consequences that are going on, and especially for black folks. At the end of the day, you guys may be happy now, but everything that's economical, everything that got to do with dollars and cents affects you differently than it does all the white folks in the country. See, because the nature of economics is that if you ain't got money, your presence is nominal. It means little or nothing to most of the people that have money, and the only reason they need you is to get more money. See, because they know we don't produce anything for the most part. We're consumers, So we buy whatever they sell, no matter how stupid, how crazy it is. Because I remember one time they had some jeans that was backwards, and they put them out there, and black folks bought them. They bought them up like with a zip in the back. How can you zip? I guess they sold them for women, but I saw mostly guys with them on. So again, no matter what they produce, we buy it, we throw our money away. Now I heard somebody say the other day on the radio, they spent their entire stimulus check on lottery tickets. Now I can't wait to hear how somebody in Tampa, Florida, won that $700 million or that $500 million. One of them is Powerball, one of them is Mega Millions. I can't wait because somebody spent their entire stimulus check on lottery tickets. I'm just saying.
It just amazes me how people that can understand numbers enough don't understand that the lottery is truly rigged.
Oh yeah.
It is a numberly challenged game, sport. It's kind of like, I haven't bought a ticket in years out of that. Every now and then I do, but usually I don't bother. I'd rather go and just use a change machine because at least I know what I'm going to get back. So it's a hit every time I put money in that change machine.
Yeah.
I know what I'm going to get back because it's my money, as opposed to no money at all. But people are crazy. They're buying these expensive shoes, $300-400 shoes. That stimulus check. How do you eat that? I don't understand.
Well, it ain't important. And I'm gonna tell you something that I learned a long time ago. You appreciate, and I ain't saying, I'm not talking down the stimulus check. I don't want y'all to get this wrong. I'm just saying that $600 you had to scrape and scratch and do whatever you had to do to get it. You appreciate that $600 more than that $600 somebody gave you. Because, like I say, the nature of that $600 somebody gave you, somebody just went and took all $600 of it and spent it on lottery tickets. Now, I'm going to tell you something good, something bad about the nature of that. If you would have needed, I'm going to piss everybody off now.
Come on.
Okay. If they'd have gave that $600 to the people that's unemployed, who don't work for themselves, who don't work for nobody else, who's scraping and scratching, they wouldn't have bought no lottery ticket. I'm telling you that right now. They wouldn't have bought a lottery ticket. I'm telling you, that person who spent it on lottery tickets ain't missed a paycheck in the last 2 years. They got a good job, and I'm not saying they're first responders, but I'm saying they ain't been laid off. So they really didn't need it. Their life did not change. They were not affected by this COVID economy. Now, so I'm just saying, had it been done the right way, the folks who would have been, the folks who've been laid off, the folks who've been kicked out of their house, folks who could not pay rent or pay mortgage or pay whatever, and is suffering, and if they'd have gave that money to those people only. And again, I know I'm not making any sense, you know, because you guys say, oh yeah, we needed the money. Yeah, but you ain't missed the paycheck. You ain't missed nothing. You ain't missed a meal. You ain't missed the paycheck. You know, Boo Boo and Baba and Dada have not missed making a turd.
And Eddie, you know, it's kind of like you got to stop and for a majority of us, I think it through. Go, wait a minute. Yeah. I mean, for myself, you know, I'd love to take a trip. Yeah. But my bank account highly suggests I better take a trip to work.
But your COVID said you can't go nowhere now, pretty much.
Yeah.
So.
It's like, okay, well, that ain't quite it. So, folks, this is getting a grasp, and Eddie's trying to lay it out for you. You have an opportunity. You got some money to work with that wasn't promised in the beginning. Nope. It's just a check that shows. Now, if you've been missing checks, this was a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal. You live paycheck to paycheck.
And on the other hand,
you ain't got one.
Yeah, but if you got a check regularly, and you got $600, well, okay.
Christmas came twice.
Yeah, and obviously you understand nothing's free. I bet you they charge tax on that, don't they, Eddie?
No, so somebody's gonna pay for. Somebody's gonna pay for it though. Eventually, somebody's gonna pay for it.
Ain't nothing free.
Because there's no free money. The government don't even print it for free. So somebody.
Yeah.
Okay, caller, welcome to Porch Talk Radio on this Saturday afternoon. Who are you? Where you calling from? And what say you? Hello.
Hey, Eddie, this is Al.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, all right. So you already know I'm not going to try and convince you guys to change your mind. So
no, please don't.
Y'all already found that road.
We'll cut you off.
Yeah. You don't want to get cut off today.
No, I ain't worried about getting cut off. That's fine, too. But I'm just saying, y'all already sailing down that road. That's the opposite next thing. So, but what I do want to say this, all right, if you truly believe in capitalism, right?
Yes.
Then what you're advocating is you're saying that business owners or corporations shouldn't try to reduce their costs in order to increase profits. All right, because that's what's been happening for about the last 40 years. All right, since the 80s, we have seen a tremendous increase in profitability with companies because what they've been doing is reducing costs by offshoring jobs to reduce their labor costs. Right?
Yes.
They can go to countries like China, get lower labor, and increase their profits, which means they're taking those jobs overseas. Now, you'll sit there and say, okay, well, it's China's fault. China don't make our corporations sit there and have them manufacture their goods. Right? Now, when it comes to the consumer is sitting there voting with their dollar. Because those jobs have been shipped overseas, and those people no longer have those jobs that they used to have, guess what? Their paychecks aren't as large, and so they look to buy cheaper goods, which is what China is supplying. So now, if you got an issue with anybody, the issue has to be with the individual that you all sit there and protect. And it has to be with the individual who they are lowering the taxes for. When you talk about transfer payments, right, like welfare, which your side of the aisle have a huge problem with, those dollars do go to people who really need it. All right, contrary to popular belief, those individuals aren't investing in the stock market. They're taking that money and they're spending it. Guess what? America is a consumer-driven economy. That's the reason you give stimulus. You want the people to go spend the money. If they don't spend it, corporations don't generate revenue. Corporations can't hire people. You see? So this whole notion about they're just giving money away. No, they give the money with the intent to spend. If everybody took the money and saved it, guess what would happen to the economy? It would sink even further because we are a consumer-driven economy. Americans are some of the worst savers in the world. So therefore, what you have to do is, if you're going to talk to stuff, understand the dynamics. All right, and the things that drive politics.
Al, let me get a word in. Okay, the nature of what I'm talking about is it's a lot of folks who actually do need it. Okay, just throwing a bunch of money out there at the end of the day within our community had those folks who don't have a job, those folks who got 4 or 5 kids, those folks who got a lot of bills to pay, they're not going to spend their stimulus check on lottery tickets. It's a whole bunch of people who have not ever missed a paycheck who didn't need it. Again, I understand that just give the money out there, let the money go where it goes. But the nature of it is we have to be smarter than that. That's my point. My point is, as a community, we need to be smarter than that because we can't spend our stimulus check on lottery tickets. That's what I'm saying.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100% on that. And again, what I don't want to happen is everybody didn't spend their money on lottery tickets. A lot of people spent that money on the things that they needed. But I agree with you. There should have been a process to where they can evaluate who really needs the money. The only problem you run into when you do that, Eddie, it slows the whole process down, just like it did with these grants. With these grants that we just did with the city and different municipalities, it slowed things down because they had to sit there and do all this verification. And in the meantime, people were sitting there basically losing business, and they were going out of business. So it's just hard in a situation like that to do that. So I agree with that. I just wanted to drop that in, man. Thanks.
And thank you, and I'm glad you called, because there's one more thing I want to say. At the end of the day, you got to look at this, you know, I see things differently, because one of the reasons that it gets slowed down, because along the pipeline, everybody got to take their 3 cents out. And if everybody taking their 3 cents out, you know, that slows it down. Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying that every dollar, for the most part, that make it to our community comes through some kind of county, city, state, federal, you know, agents.
The worst distributors.
And a lot of times, those people take more money out than actually make it to the end of the pipeline.
That's true, Eddie.
And because of that, we usually get, like they say, the trickle down effect. We get the crumbs. We get the pieces of the piece. You know, we don't get a full slice of the pie. We get a piece of the slice of the slice. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Well, now you gotta also remember too, Congress stipulates that. And when I say Congress, I'm talking about the entire Congress. I know a lot of times when they say Congress, they're referring to the House.
Right.
When they talk about the upper chamber, the Senate, they refer to it as the Senate.
Yeah.
So when you hear them say that Trump got impeached by Congress, they're typically referring to the House, because the Senate is typically referred to as the Senate because it's the upper chamber. But what I'm talking about is Congress as a whole. Congress as a whole put those things in place where sit there and have all of this verification, because everybody's so worried about fraud.
Right.
Okay? And so what ends up happening is each of those governmental entities, yes, they take out a portion, but the other thing that slows it down is all the verification they have to do to try to prevent fraud, as if the Congress, really, and I'm talking about the entire Congress, really think about fraud. We get defrauded by large companies and by defense contractors all day long, but when it comes to disseminating money to the people, that's when they really want to worry about fraud. So, you know, if they want to worry about fraud, there's a lot of fraud to go after. But when you start talking about $600 checks as fraud, that's not an issue for me. So,
right.
But I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for calling. I appreciate that. And again, like Fred Sample said way back in the day, you know, he was saying, do you think they actually spend, the military actually spend, you know, $300 on a hammer, you know, $100 on a toilet seat? I mean, a lot of those are large corporations that they're buying in bulk from, and they're not getting a bulk price discount. You know, they paying 4 and 5 times what the objects are worth, because everybody along the pipeline got to get paid.
Well, and it's like the $10 million for the Pakistan gender program.
Yeah,
we're supposed to be paying. Yeah, research.
Yeah.
Which most of us with half a brain go, that's going into a CIA account somewhere to fund some war somewhere that we shouldn't be in.
They got nuclear weapons. They can afford their own gender research.
Yeah, if they can afford their own nuclear bombs, why would we give them? It's not going to them, folks. It's going to a CIA account somewhere overseas so they can keep funding wars, doing some knockoff somewhere. So that's just kind of an understanding that, and you know, to Al's point on capitalism real quick, just saying that yes, we do want cheap products as consumers. In fact, I think I started that conversation initially, but the bottom line is if China's coming in and stealing patents and just copying stuff at random and entering it back into the country through other sources, that's a problem. A, they don't own that patent, they stole it. Why can't we spend time to go after that? oh, we can't go after China because they own us.
They do.
Well, unfortunately, they got a lot of our real estate. That's for sure.
Well, we sold. I'm telling you, the nature of this economy is we hate it. Do hate, still hate, will forever hate Trump. But Trump took
the bull by the horns.
Pretty much China's hand out of our back pocket. You know, so that's an issue. That's why everything's going to creep up. Everything's going to creep up. You know, even though they say the product is cheaper and this and that and all that, on the big end, see that's the magician. You know, that's the watch this hand here. While you watching, and those on Facebook Live, you can see me doing my hand.
Hey.
You know, they moving the hand, and you're watching this hand where the other hand is picking your pocket. The other hand is going through your drawers, going through your plants, going through everything. You know, you still watching the hand over here that the magicians say, watch this. Why you think they do the little stuff before they do the magic trick? It ain't about, you know, the illusion is you didn't see it. Now, you were watching everything on stage and watching everybody on stage. He moved his hand. That got your attention long enough for him to do whatever trick he was going to do. That's what's happening to our whole economy. And that's what's been happening to our whole economy. A lot of people don't understand that. That's why I try to say it in such a way that folks will realize that what you see and what they want you to see and what you think you're seeing ain't what you're seeing.
And Eddie, again, it's understanding. You just said, look at the shiny object over here while I'm doing this bad stuff over here. As we understand the rioting that happened, they've actually got some of the real rioters, protesters now in jail. But that was a distraction.
Right.
What was the big deal? The big deal was the Vice President, Mike Pence, putting a knife in Trump's back by saying, no, I'm not going to do that, and then scaring the one weak congressperson we had, Loeffler, out of Georgia, and for her saying, no, I'm not going to object. That was the really big deal. So the people out here running around that were brought in by the Capitol Police,
they were let in the back door.
They were in, and we know that there was Antifa buses there. Yeah. We know there's video out on that. We know that the face recognition software of the White House showed it to be all Antifa people protesting in there. We know this, but everybody's so ate up over that. Yeah. Why is it that if the left can do protest, and that's called free speech, but the right, even though it really wasn't the right, if they do protest, it's suddenly violence and it needs to be shut down immediately. Folks, you aren't listening to your Democratic representatives who promoted for months BLM and Antifa burning down the towns. More black businesses were taken out because of it. More black lives were killed because of it. And the Democrats are right there in step with them. So folks, keep a focus. What's important? Stop following the shiny object and look at what's really going on, and you'll be upset.
And I'm going to say something else that I'm going to do on this day. Okay,
time is running.
Folks keep saying, and it really disturbed me, Black Lives Matter. Boy, Black Lives Matter would have been there. Black Lives Matter would have been. Black Lives Matter is mostly white, young females.
Eddie, come on now.
So if the Black Lives Matter would have been there, it would not have looked a lot different than it currently looked. Maybe they would have had different flags.
Yeah.
You know, but the people there would not have been like the race riots of the 50s and the 60s and the 40s and the 70s and the 2000s, you know, because a race riot usually is mostly mostly us. You know, industry being upset about something that happened to something or somebody in our community.
Right.
So it's mostly us. You know, that's how I started the show out. Trying to make a difference between what you saw on TV and them people walking around with the different flags, you know, the rebel flag, the American flag, the Trump flag, all these flags, and then the media, you know, pretty much telling you all week that them people are traitors. Those people are the worst things. You know, those people are demons. Those people, every name you could think of, they was calling them people. Now, because of what you saw and what they've told you what they were, there's a whole thing, you know, back though that nobody's talking about, and I'm talking about it on this show because I can.
What is?
Is that, you know, all those Capitol Police that wasn't there was given a day off.
Eddie, we already know the FBI.
It was a lot of National Guard troops who was willing to come from neighboring states. You know, they didn't show up because they wasn't called. You know, nobody, you know, said, Maryland, send your National Guard troop. Virginia, send your National Guard troop. You know, which they would have done. You know, this is the capital. You know, we're at war. This is insurrection. You know, they could have had, you know, 100,000 soldiers there. The Pentagon is there. They could have had military. They could have had American troops on American soil. Somebody, oh, we never seen that. Well, you know, again, you know, a whole bunch of stuff you haven't seen. You know, that's been happening. So I'm just telling you. Okay, we got a caller. Caller, welcome to Porch Talk Radio on this fine Saturday afternoon. Who are you? Where you calling from? And what say you? Hello. Hello, caller.
Calling from Valrico.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, I wanted to comment about Vice President Mike Pence. Mike Pence is a fine man. I'm tired of hearing him bashed when he did not have the constitutional authority to do
We don't know that.
Trump was asking him to do that. Well, there have been two opinions on that, of course, one pro and one con.
Yeah.
And they bash him because he was of the opinion, and he listened to lawyers who were of the opinion that he did not have that constitutional authority. I don't like hearing him bashed.
Well, Mike Pence is a politician and Trump wasn't. That's
big time.
That's the primary difference between the two. So Mike knew what the law was and what the rules and regulation was, and Trump didn't. So I'm with you on that. I don't see bashing you know, Pence, because he knew he had a pretty good idea. I'm saying he knew what was right and what was wrong, and he knew what his constitutional obligations were. So I'm gonna stick with you on that. So go ahead.
And I believe he's a man who follows his conscience.
Yes, I do too.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for calling. Appreciate it.
Bet hit your,
Good call. Yes.
bet hit your deal there.
Okay. Let me do on this day, so we don't get on another roll and end up missing it today. On this day, January the 16th, 1883, the United States Civil Service Commission was established as the Pendleton Act went into effect. That's what it started as. On this day, January the 16th, in 1920, Prohibition went into effect in the United States. Prohibition, that's when they made alcohol legal. Because up until then, that's when they made it illegal.
Illegal.
That's when they made alcohol illegal in 1920. So for those who were running moonshine, you know,
People went blind with that stuff.
it was a bunch of reasons. A bunch of people went a lot of different things with moonshine because everybody had their own still. I remember, and I may be dating myself,
No,
but it was a time in which people used to make homebrew and moonshine at home in their houses right here in the state of Florida. You had to go to North Carolina or South Carolina, you know, Tennessee to get moonshine. They were moonshiners right here in Florida. All right. On this day, January 16th, 1944, General Dwight D. Eisenhower took command of the Allied invasion forces in London. That's why he ended up being president. He was a good general. He was a good general first. He was a World War II hero. On this date in 1999, the White House announced the start of Operation Desert Shield. 1991, Operation Desert Storm. The operation was designed to drive Iraqi forces out of Kuwait. And see, a lot of you guys forget that. You know, it was one of those moments in time. But I remember, you know, most of history that you was alive when it happened. You know, it's just a footnote. You know, but you say, oh, I was alive and I remember that. You know, a lot of folks, the other history, the other millions and billions of years before we got here, you know, you know, that's other history. That just happened while we was alive.
I remember pagers.
While we was alive, yeah. Okay, and last but not least, on this day, the first on this day in January the 16th in 1998, the first woman who enrolled in Virginia Military Institute, that's a VMI for those who from the military, withdrew from school on this date. So the first woman that went there didn't make it. She ended up withdrawing. A lot of different reasons, sexual harassment being one of them, and a lot of other abuses and stuff. And it wasn't because she's a weak woman, but because she was the only woman. So
she tried.
So Gabriel,
you know, folks, if you love someone, set them free. If they come back, it means nobody else wanted them. Set them free again. As we look at this political picture, folks, whether Mike Pence was just a backstabbing politician from the swamp rat type thing, whatever. He's got a multi-million-dollar retirement, so what does he care? He said he wants to get out of this anyway, so he wants to retire out. So, you know what? I wish him the best, his backstabbing self. So anyway, President-elect Joe Biden has already let us know his first day in office, he will be removing all legal recognition of two sexes by adopting pro-gender policies. So all of you that will affect, please feel free to call in. Okay.
It won't affect me because I'm only one sex.
Okay. Well, you're just confused because they say there's 56 different sexes out there.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and he's going to direct his administration, which is your tax dollars. Also, the incoming Biden administration has let it be known that FEMA and the National Guard will be used to establish COVID vaccine sites across the nation. Biden has pledged 100 million shots into arms his first 100 days in office. Whatever happened to my body, my choice? Ooh. Let's see, the move for the state government.
It sounds good.
It sounds good, but since Biden has absolutely nothing to show for the last 48 years, I can't imagine it's really happening. No, but we'll see. The move for state governments to divest their pension funds of big techs gathered momentum when the mayor of one of the towns in Tennessee said, we've got to get big tech out of our retirement accounts. Those are good moneymakers, even though they're censoring the hell out of us.
Oh, yeah.
Thomas Sowell, great author and speaker, has written Sowell. There we go. I'll go with that. He just recently wrote, too many people today act as if no one can honestly disagree with them. If you have a difference of opinion with them, you are considered to not merely be in error, but in sin. You are a racist, a homophobe, or whatever the villain of the day happens to be. If you believe in free speech for people who you disagree with, and even hate for those for what they stand for, then you don't really believe in free speech. So think about that. Lockdowns have failed. Everyone can see it. The virus has spread at record levels despite all mask mania, social distancing, and all the mantras and mass business closures. Those who demanded you comply will never admit it, but they were wrong. And they made everything worse. So while Trump was in office, Democratic mayors across the country were adamant about shutting down bars and restaurants and ruining the lives of small businesses across the United States. Now that Biden will be president, it's suddenly imperative to open immediately. So maybe it really wasn't COVID. Hello. And of course, Candace Owens, America is not a racist country. Anyone claiming otherwise has a vested interest in keeping us divided. The easiest way to maintain power over any group is to keep those within it at war with one another. Boy, that makes too much sense.
Oh, yeah, it does.
And of course, nothing says democracy like requiring 45,000 soldiers to install a new regime. So the Dark Star is being fired up again with the Democratic Party coming into power. Funny how they need that much protection. This is like we went to Venezuela and took them over suddenly, put in our own people in place.
Oh, yeah.
New York City mayor, on why only his gym is allowed to stay open, he said he's special. Because he needs it, he has lots of responsibility. Let's see, 1 year ago, China tells the world.
He's special.
Very.
He's short, bus special.
That's exactly. Is he short? I didn't know that. 1 year ago, today, China tells the world there is no evidence of human-to-human transfer of COVID. Of course, you can believe that, right? And then, of course, AOC revealed that officials are discussing a commission to rein in our media environment so that they will not just spew whatever they want. They'll have our talking points. So, folks, that is real. Don't let them take your temperature when you go into the store. It's a scam. They're erasing your memory. I went for bread and eggs and came out with Bluebell ice cream and Snickers. Let's see. Democrats not impeached for inciting violence. Kamala Harris, of course, protesters should not let up. That was her. She also has set up a fund to get the rioters out right away. If you see anybody from the cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, you get out and you create a crowd and you push back on them, said Maxine Waters. Of course, Maxine Waters recently said, she admits she threatens Trump supporters all the time. And of course, there needs to be unrest in the streets by Presley representative. And then Mrs. Pelosi, I just don't know why they aren't uprising all over the country. Maybe there will be something happening soon. So folks, just remember, after it's all said and done, rest easy. It's just politics. And I'll close with this. A man brings his best buddy home for dinner, unannounced at 7:30 p.m. after work. His wife begins screaming at him, and his friend just sits and listens. The wife yells out, my hair, my makeup are not done, the house is a mess, the dishes are not done, I'm still in pajamas, and I can't be bothered with cooking tonight. Why the hell did you bring him home? The husband responds, because he's thinking of getting married, and I promised him a demo. Thank you all.
All right. So, for those who had forgot, the Super Bowl will be here in 2 weeks.
Woo, who's winning?
Well, the Bucs play tomorrow. The Bucs got an opportunity to do something, and I think I mentioned this last week. You know, if I didn't, I meant to. You know, I told you senility is setting in. But if the Bucs win tomorrow and next week, they get to have a home game. No other team in American football history has had a home game in the Super Bowl. So that's not a lot. I'm just throwing some stuff out there. You know, this is the Republican on the radio comes on every Saturday talking out his butt again. But I'm just saying, because if they beat New Orleans tomorrow, it's nobody left that they can't beat. I'm just saying. Because New Orleans has ate their lunch twice this year already. I mean, ate their lunch. I mean, beat their butt. Kind of like old school butt whooping. You know,
they can get past the fear of not getting beat again, they might win.
I'm just saying, if they beat New Orleans tomorrow, there's nobody left, no matter who wins what game, you know, that they can't beat, including win the Super Bowl.
There'll be some brand new Lamborghinis lined up for them boys.
I'm just throwing it out there because with Tom Brady, I was in the barber shop, we had this conversation. Tom Brady got more Super Bowl rings, more Super Bowl victories than any other quarterback in the NFL.
How old is that guy now?
He's 42 or 43.
He's getting up there.
But that's okay. That ain't what's going to make him win or make him lose. Because he's playing, you know, like he's 33.
Okay.
He's playing like a young man. I mean, nobody likes to get hit.
That used to happen to me too.
You know, it's all mental. Football at this point is more mental than it is physical. Because if you know how to get out the way, if you know how to throw the ball, you know when to throw the ball, you know, if you know who to throw the ball to, I'm talking, this is all mental action. It ain't about outrunning nobody, especially if you're playing quarterback. I mean, they got some quarterbacks who can.
But at 42, better be big gay too. That boy's hurting.
But at this point in his life, all he got to do is throw the ball at the right time to the right people.
Simple, Eddie.
Yes, that's it. That's it. And the person that does that the best tomorrow will win.
Woo.
And who does that best the next 2 weeks will be here in Tampa, and hopefully Tampa Bay will get a home.
Wow, that'd be
home
awesome.
Super Bowl advantage, even though it may not be nobody in the stand.
Chick-fil-A for everything. Don't they do Chick-fil-A pizza give you free pizza or something if your team wins or something?
It's a whole bunch of free stuff out there, Super Bowl. So it's here in Tampa in 2 weeks. Thank you for listening. We love you, Tampa Bay. And until next week, same bat time, same bat station. We do this all again. Love you.
God bless.
Bye-bye.